Beginning today's edition of Cut the Clutter with me, Shekhar Gupta, is the story on everybody's mind, Pakistan. Should you talk to Pakistan? Should you not talk to Pakistan? Imran Khan, the new Prime Minister of Pakistan, has sent a love letter, if I may call it that, to the Prime Minister of India, asking for a resumption of dialogue on all issues, including on terrorism. Now, the answer to this question is very simple. No sovereign country can ever say, I will not talk to another sovereign country, especially when that country happens to be your next door neighbor and a nuclear weapons power. You have today a world where Donald Trump flies all the way to Singapore to meet his counterpart, don't laugh, his counterpart in North Korea, and they sign an agreement at the end of the day. You can laugh at him, you can make jokes about it, you may say this was a wasted exercise, but countries talk to countries now. Leaders talk to countries. You cannot say it is an unsustainable position that we will not talk to somebody unless all problems between us cease to exist, because if there are no problems, why would you talk anyway? Countries always have problems and issues between themselves. India and Bhutan have issues between themselves. America and Canada have issues between themselves. They must talk. There is no argument for not talking. So I would say follow the advice of Mr. Gujral. I know people think that he was just a useless peacenik. He wasn't. He was a very smart diplomat. He used to say, "Guftgu band na ho, baat se baat chale." So keep talking. You don't have to concede anything. Time again to engage. Don't worry that Imran Khan doesn't have real power. No elected Prime Minister in Pakistan after Bhutto has had real power. So if Imran Khan talks to you, you know that he is a proxy for the army. You don't have to send Indian generals to talk to Pakistani generals. You talk to whoever the Pakistanis elect and put in front of you. Our diplomats, our negotiators, our leaders are not so gullible that they will sacrifice national interest. So shed all insecurities and do go ahead and exchange with the same confidence that the Indian cricket team and the hockey team now engages Pakistan and actually has almost a 8 out of 10 record against their traditional rivals. So look the adversary in the eye, talk to the adversary. There is no point hiding in a bunker. You don't win wars of diplomacy, sport, or real wars, military wars, by hiding in bunkers. Be outside. There is still a lot of discussion over the 3-day RSS carnival in Delhi. It was like long series of monologues from the Sarsang Chalak, but many things came out of it. One, it was in a way the RSS's coming out party. RSS was coming from Nagpur and from Keshav Kunj to put itself in front of a wide selection of people from India and with all sessions live streamed to answer questions. There were no real surprises in those answers, but they were very interesting pointers that nobody can miss. One, the fact that RSS was mainstream was never to be doubted. It's wrong to say that, oh, this has made RSS mainstream. They were always mainstream. It's just that they never talked so much. This is in some ways the most articulate Sarsang Chalak in a long time. He is also young enough and energetic enough. Many of the others were quite old by the time they took over that position. And he now has a power which nobody in the RSS ever had, because India now has a government which is the most unabashed government of the right, of the nationalist Hindu right. Mr. Vajpayee's government was not like that. So this is RSS's way of coming and saying, look, we are also there, and it does two things for the RSS. One, it reassures their government that RSS is there behind them. Second, in how they see the outside possibility of the BJP losing power next year, this brings them in the mainstream to the extent that it reminds people that RSS is an entity by itself and they don't look as bad as you might have thought they were if you were not BJP voters. So I am very touched and very amused by this new left liberal love for the RSS, as if the RSS will now rise and defeat Modi and Shah. No such thing is going to happen. RSS and Modi and Shah are exactly on the same side. Expect no change. Nothing of the sort is going to happen. And finally, a very interesting political move today. Mayawati announcing that she will join hands with Ajit Jogi, who is a Congress rebel, former chief minister in the state of Chhattisgarh. And there is speculation again, oh, does it mean that the Grand Alliance or the SP-BSP Congress alliance in UP, which is what matters, is now over? No, it's not over. She is maneuvering. This is politics. This is not a joke. This is not a. This is a game of chess. This is not a Bollywood event, or not a parliamentary event where everybody goes and hugs everybody. This is hardball. She is positioning herself by letting the Congress know that either you concede to me now, the next test comes in Madhya Pradesh, where she wants a bunch of seats from Congress party, either you accommodate me on my terms, or I can spoil it for you in many places, not just Uttar Pradesh. So she's made her move. Now let's wait for the Congress's response.